Hello, this is Byron from Element Games, and this is going to be our first video tutorial. I've chosen something simple to start off with, and it's going to be how I go about making a textured base. First thing we're using is green stuff. I'd use more of the yellow than the blue here, which will give you a nice tacky finish, which will allow you to stick the stuff that's coming on next to it easier without needing glue. Just plop it anywhere you like on the base. It's best with a lot of this stuff not to think about it too much. You're going for an organic final look, and if you think about it too much, then things may end up being too uniform. The relative uniform, that little lip you'll get where the green stuff's not quite met the base, go around it with a sculpting tool with a bit of water on there or lick, and smooth it all out, and that'll make it look much more natural. There we go, same again with the second piece, not too much thought, just pop it down. Any aspect of these bases that you don't like, a good way to go about making sure things stay nice and unorganized is to cover any mistakes you've made with your next layer. So in this case, the bits that I don't like with the base, that's where I'm going to be choosing to put the slate on. Smooth out any green stuff wrinkles you get. No need to be too neat with any of this, really. There we go, covering the bit I don't like. Choose the most visually interesting side of the slate to put face up. As long as it fits into the gap you're going for, then you want to pick the ones which will show up nicely when they've been dry brushed, so the best texture is the way to go. On to gluing now. This is a bit which it's worth actually taking your time over, I'd say. You're ideally aiming for a thin layer of thick PVA. If your PVA is not really thick to start off with, there's two ways to go about this. You can pop it on your palette, leave it for 20 minutes, come back to it and it will have gone slightly more tacky. Or you can do what I'm doing here, which is to put on your first layer, leave it again for about 20 minutes to dry, and then come back at it, giving it a second go, redistribute it to make sure it's not shrunk from the edges, which is very important, and that time you've left it should make sure that it's not too runny. So as you can see here, you should be able to notice that it's barely running at all. I'm actually having to try quite hard to pull it towards the edges. That's going to be really helpful when we come to the next stage, which is the sanding. So onto the detailing. This is the first stage of a couple of stages of smaller rocks, and the way to go about these is to cluster them around the larger ones that you've put on with the slate. That'll give the impression that they've eroded and crumbled over time, and these are small pieces that have fallen from them. You'll also end with quite a nice gradual fade between the clean outer rims of the base and the broken centre, which is probably where your model is going to be standing, and that will give it a nice frame and border surrounding the model, and there'll be a fade in textures from the larger to the smaller out towards the edges. Sanding now. Now this thick PVA means that ideally it won't seep through your bottom layer of sand and come out on top, making things look a little bit wet and muddy. If that's the look you're going for, cool, but for this base it wasn't what I had in mind. Just to make doubly sure, after I've sat it under the sand once, sitting under there again, and that means that any that does seep through, even with a thickened PVA, it should stick onto the next layer of sand and come out looking nice and dry. Finishing touches now, just wipe a finger around the edges, keep those lines nice and crisp, and you can catch any bits here if you've had PVA that's dribbled over the edge or anything like that. Sorted, ready for painting. Thank you very much for watching. Please like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and hopefully there'll be lots more of these coming up in the future. As this is our first video, I'm really looking for feedback, so if you didn't like it, if you'd like to see other stuff in the future, if you've got any specific requests, any techniques and stuff like that, let me know and I'll get on it. Everything used today is available from the Element Games web store, that's elementgames.co.uk, and also below there is a link to the other tutorials that are up on the website already, so go ahead and check them out if you're interested. That's it for now, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.